Hello again and welcome to Matthew North Music on YouTube. Got a little bit of a different thing to show you today. This is a piece of equipment that I worked with a lot in my day job 25 plus years ago, and a work colleague of mine found this in a skip somewhere in Newcastle about 15 years ago, and he gave it to me to have a look at to see if I can get it going. And inside this leather case is something that if you work in journalism or you work in sound recording, but particularly in journalism, this will be something you're very familiar with. And I'm going to open up the brown leather case, or the black and brown leather case, and it's this. This is the Uher 4400 Reporter IC, as written on the front, tape recorder, otherwise known as a Uher. And what's special about this particular one is that it's in stereo, because most Uhers that were manufactured for the broadcast industry were mono. The reason being, for speech you don't really need stereo, and secondly it means that you're using half the width of the tape rather than a quarter of the width of the tape, because this tape recorder is like most domestic tape recorders in that it records 2 tracks in one direction and 2 tracks in another. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the controls on the front of the machine. As we go from left to right, here you've got the volume control, which is the level that comes out the built-in loudspeaker to the left here, and also the headphones. You've got 2 separate record levels with their corresponding level meters. You've got 2 microphone inputs. These are DIN connectors, which actually use a lockable DIN connector. You've got your recording option controls, where you can either record on track 1, track 2, or you press them both in to do a stereo recording. And on the right hand side, you've got your speed controls, which runs from 19 centimeters per second, or 7.5 inches per second, right the way down to 2.4 centimeters per second. You would normally record at 7.5 or 3 3/4. Once you get down to slower speeds, 1 7/8 and whatever it is in imperial at the end, it's more for voice logging because the sound quality just isn't really up to it, certainly not for broadcast recording. I'll now take it out of its case and let you see some other sockets and controls on the tape machine. If we look at the sockets on the side, you've got a line in, line out socket here, which is a 5-pin DIN connector. You have a DIN style speaker socket here, which you can also use an adapter lead for to plug in a pair of headphones. And this socket here is your charging socket and your external power input. Again, this is another DIN type connector variant. And if we look at the left hand side of the Uher, you've also got another DIN type speaker jack socket, which is because the machine's stereo, so you can run 2 speakers off it. We'll now take a little look at the inside of the Uher, and if I remove the bottom off the tape deck, it should have a little screw here, but that's obviously missing. Inside here you will see the battery compartment. Now in this part here you could fit an optional lead acid battery, which is what most journalists would have had if they were using this for broadcast, and you then charge it using the external charging socket, or you can use 5 large 1.5 volt batteries. I'll now just remove this screw or loosen it, and this circuit board should open up. And here we have the inside of the Uher. You've got a little bit more than you used to have in your average Uher. You've got one of these as an extra circuit board. This is your main motor, which drives this belt here, and this arrangement turns this spool here, and there's another wheel there that drives the other spool. You've got another belt here that drives this pulley, and this turns this wheel, and this wheel is the capstan. If we quickly look at the circuit board that I've lifted up, this is mostly the recording circuitry here. This switch here, when energized, will go into record mode. You can see, if you look carefully, it's nearly all germanium transistors. This is quite an old machine. and these are prone to going wrong at times. It's going to be a guess as to whether this will all work or not. If we look back inside, amazingly the belts in here actually seem to be in pretty good condition for something that hasn't been used for, I don't know, maybe 15-20 years or more. That's pretty impressive, and it's actually very, very clean inside, seeing that this was found in a skip. I'll just close the lid a second and put the bottom back on and turn him over. I'll just open up the lid for you and you can have a look. So you've got two spools here. It's a very nice little take-up spool you used to get with the Uhers. It's a nice solid aluminium metal take-up spool. Looks very impressive. I'm just going to whip open this little panel here. It's two little screws. This was designed to be easily removable, so you can get at the heads for cleaning, and hopefully what we see under here should look pretty good if it's anything like the rest of the machine. So we take that out. So there's one head, there's the other head. I'm pretty sure that must be the record play head and that must be the erase head, although it's possible that could be the record head and that could be the playback head, and it doesn't have an erase head, and you have to assume you always use blank tape. There's our capstan wheel, and that looks to be in fairly good condition, and there's the actual capstan there. If I just press the play button, you can see that the mechanism energizes inside there, and press stop and it comes out. As we've had a quick look at the machine, it does look to be fairly clean inside, but what I would like to do is to do a little bit of routine maintenance and give it a test. So there's a few things that I need. Well, the first thing that I bought for this Uher is a new belt kit there. I must admit I haven't changed belts on a Uher for well over 20 years, but I don't think it's one of those things that's going to be too difficult to do. The second thing that I've bought is one of these, which is a 6-pin DIN connector for connecting power, and I've also bought a suitable power supply. This is just a standard universal 1 amp DC power supply, which I should just take out the box. Hopefully it's got a UK plug on it, even though I bought it from eBay. Yep, so just a bog standard mains connector, which you can set to 7.5 volts, which is the voltage that it needs. And what I shall do here is, in case it doesn't work, I still want to be able to use this power supply. So I'm just going to snip the cable about there, so I've got some wire left over. I will then solder on the connector. If it turns out it doesn't work, then I can easily reconnect these two together, solder them together, put some heat shrink over, and I've still got a working power supply. Now, some of us are probably fans of the centre aisle of a certain brand of budget supermarket, and the other day I bought this, and it's a nice box of Alligator crocodile clips, and I thought, rather than wire up the DIN connector in case it doesn't work, all I actually need to do is to connect a pair of Alligator clips to the power supply and just clip it to the battery terminals of the Uher. And that's a quick, rough and ready way of seeing if the thing will power on or not. The symbol on there is a positive on this side and a negative on that side, so the white line is the positive. We don't need all that, but I like to have long strands because they're easier to twist. There we have two crocodile clips connected to the power supply. I'm actually just going to take the battery compartment out because I don't quite know how this is wired. Okay, it's probably just as easy just to buzz this out. So if I connect to this, I think this is going to be the negative, which is okay, so I've worked out where is where, and if I press the start button, we can see it's going around. So that's a very good sign. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get a tape. As I don't actually have any 5-inch tapes of stereo music other than something I can't use, I've decided just to record a bit of music onto a roll of old Agfa 5-inch tape, and then we can use this to test whether the Uher will actually play or not. Well, I've pre-recorded this tape with some music. The music that I've used is from This CD here, which is the album I made with Secrets for September called Insert Title Ear. It's an instrumental piece of music we're going to use, and I know I'm not going to get any kind of copyright strikes from YouTube for using it. You're only going to hear it through the camera microphone at the moment, but it'll give you an idea of what it sounds like. I think we can safely say that this machine does seem to at least play back okay. I'm now going to replace the belts and give it a good clean, and then hopefully this can have a new life. It's been a very long time since I've changed a set of belts in a Uher. However, looking at it, I don't think it's actually too difficult because they're all fairly easily accessible. I don't think I have to remove the motor. I think this belt will just unhook and come out. As for the tape counter belt, I think that one will as well. And this one here will, the main drive belt will just replace very, very quickly. This probably isn't the best angle to view the belts, but these here are the dead belts and these are the new belts that I will now put inside the deck. Right, first one to go on is going to be the tape counter belt, which is a little bit fiddly to get into place. Hopefully might get beginner's luck on this. It's been a while since I've done this. Some of the things that used to go wrong, these rubber parts here, these would sometimes wear out, and it would mean that they wouldn't make good contact with the wheel and winding would be a bit slow. On this they appear very, very clean. In fact, everything in this Uher is absolutely spotless. The amount of actual repair work required on this is at the moment negligible. Obviously I haven't done a test recording yet on this, but that's because I actually don't have a microphone cable to hand. So we're not going to see this recording today, although I might do another video with it recording. If you want to see it doing some recording, then as they say, leave a comment in the comments and I'll do one for you. In the world of electronics, some things never change really. Servicol isopropanol alcohol and a good old-fashioned cotton bud. That's about as far as I can get in without the focus going a bit funny, so I'm going to give this quick spray. And we're going to give each head a good clean. There's a little bit of oxidisation on there, but not too much, has to be said. It's fairly... Now that's done, all I need to do is to put the cover back on and pop in the two little screws that hold it in place. Okay, what I've done is I've got the one end of my continuity tester on the negative of the lead acid battery. Now, when this machine's switched off, it should be in charging mode. So that should connect, yeah, and that doesn't. And it doesn't connect to any of the other pins. So that is definitely negative. Now, if I push my continuity tester onto the positive of where the lead acid battery would be, which I think is here, that should be maybe this one, yeah, and not any of the others. Okay, so when this is a power input, that is definitely the negative, that is definitely the positive. I've soldered the DC connector on the side here, and I have just rethreaded the tape, and we'll just give it a little play. Okay, that seems to run okay. Let's just try to fast forward. Yeah, that's good. Hit the rewind, which we knew was a bit sluggish before. Yeah, rewind's a lot better now. So I think we can say this machine is working pretty well. Now, I know what you're going to think. Why would anybody actually want to use one of these tape recorders other than just for a bit of fun in this day and age? Well, there's several reasons really. One, as I just said, it's good fun. The other thing is you can put a battery inside it and you could use it as a portable music player. But then what music would you want to play on it if you don't have anything to record onto? Well, back in the 60s, you used to be able to buy 5-inch pre-recorded reel-to-reel tapes. You had things like the Shadows, or how about a bit of Manfred Mann? Or if it's really sunny, what's better than a bit of the Beach Boys? Or if rhythm and blues is more your bag, you could always listen to a bit of the Yardbirds. However, all these tapes were released in mono, which is perfectly fine. It's got a mono loudspeaker. But there were some that were even released in stereo. And one such tape is the Beatles' Abbey Road, which was released both in mono and in stereo on the reel-to-reel format. And my copy happens to be the stereo version. It even says stereo there. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and hopefully my work colleague will see this as well and be delighted that his little Uher tape machine does in fact still work. If you like what I put out on this channel, and I'm going to think about doing some new music videos soon as well, because I'm working on a few new musical projects, then please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the little bell icon so that you can be notified next time I upload a video. Thank you for watching.